evening, Metal Faithful. It is I, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. Tonight, we are reviewing Totem by Soulfly, the Soulfly guys. Totem is the 12th studio album by said band, Soulfly. It came out August 5th, 2022. Dan Slezer of Kerrang! States that superstition is an absolute beast to kick things off, and there's a pleasingly chaotic air to much of what they pack into 40 minutes. Blabbermouth stated that the 12th Soulfly album maintains the crushing heaviness of its immediate predecessors, while managing to squeeze a bit of juice out of, squeeze a bit of invention and perversity into the mix too. Louder Sound album review, Max Cavalera gets with the times and ramps up the aggro on Soulfly's new album, Totem. And we'll get into more of what the Angry Metal Guy thinks. The Angry Metal Guy is all of us, and we are all of him, in just a moment. But until then, I'm here with Dick Tittins himself, Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Oh, my goodness. WrestleZone just reported that Danhausen made CM Punk buy him a rare comic book. Actually, rare comic books. For stealing his finisher at C2E2. What do you think of that?
I just have one question for you.
Yes.
You nagged me into moving. I said, "Hey, I got to go bang my wife. Can we wait until 10:30?" I just got done with the gin and tea party, and then I had to go have an Italian sausage at a bar.
You were having the Italian sausage?
I was going to say, who's on the receiving end of this Italian sausage?
I totally swallowed an Italian sausage.
Okay.
And it was delicious. My point,
right.
let us not deal with my kinky fuckery. I want to deal with your nagging for just a moment. You, when I said, date night's not quite over, I need till 10:30, and you're like, yeah, fucking hurry it up, okay? I don't want to be here all night. That's what you said to me.
That's exactly. As a matter of fact, yes, you can go into the text and see that word for word.
Right. It was hurry the fuck up already. Bang her and get this over with. I have work to do, you kinky fuckery.
Right,
and
right.
This is what Jesse Starcher said to me. And you want to start up this podcast with fucking some bullshit about Danhausen and CM Punk?
But he's
the genius.
Very
the
evil.
genius. Say that again, Coop.
But he's very good and very evil.
That is right. That is right. The genius of this bit, Mark, is the fact that I said approximately 10 words, and then you went on for another 5 minutes about how I should have never said 10 words.
Welcome to being married to me.
No thanks.
Is what she said.
He doesn't want to swallow the Italian sausage.
Speaking of swallowing sausages, Robert Cooper's with us. How do you do, sir?
He's already noping out.
I do very well, thank you.
Good time. I don't know why. I just had to talk in a fucking alcoholic dog voice. But goddamn it, that's what I'm sticking with now.
Frightening.
How many Soulfly albums have we reviewed so far? What do you think, Jesse?
Well, this will be definitely our second that I know of. Maybe even more than that.
Let's see. Yeah, I think we did Ritual in 2018. Okay, so this has to be the second one because the one prior to that was 2015, and we weren't really doing Metal Hammer of Doom at that point, or maybe we were, but I don't think we reviewed Archangel.
I was about to say no, we were doing it then. It's just I don't think we reviewed Soulfly.
Right.
We definitely didn't do Savages, and then we weren't doing the podcast. Well, we definitely didn't do Savages, and we definitely didn't do Enslaved, and then the last one before that was Omen in 2010. So. I got into Soulfly, though, when they came out after Sepultura kind of sort of broke up and reformed with new people. Those first two albums are pretty kick-ass, Soulfly and Primitive. Once it gets to 3, and then after that, I kind of was in and out on Soulfly. I still like them, but I have to say, they're very hit or miss for me. What do you think, Robert?
I mean, I'm kind of right there. I love Max Cavalera's work overall.
Yeah.
I just think it's. I mean, they're not always bangers, unfortunately. The guy definitely has some. I mean, he's got some good work. Definitely some good post Soulfly stuff with Cavalera Conspiracy, and I mean, Soulfly definitely has its bright spots. But there are other times where I'm just like, this is cool. I'm also very happy that they as well as Sepultura still exists, even though I'll say that Sepultura's post Cavalera stuff is also very hit and miss.
Yeah, it's more miss than hit. And I would say
Yeah.
Soulfly is more hit than miss, but I'll tell you, they fucking peaked with Roots. I know everyone loves Chaos AD. That's the one that everyone's like, oh my god, that's the best Sepultura era. I really liked Roots. I thought Roots as a Sepultura album really gave them some distinction and definition, and then it killed the band. So.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved Beneath the Remains myself, but or I could just be a real hipster. I'm like, it's got to come. It has to be Bestial Wasn't it Bestial Devastation was their first album?
Yeah, something like that. I have to go back and look. I don't know. I got into them with Beneath the Remains and then Chaos AD. So
yeah, I was totally around for all that too. Right when it was coming off the press, hell yeah.
Did you know, Jesse, that Biotech is Godzilla? Rawr.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Biotech is Godzilla. Rawr.
Yeah, and roar means I love you in dinosaur. That is what I learned from being in high school in 2009.
Eat Pop Orc means I love you. Jesse, I love you.
Do you just say eat raw pork means I love you?
Eep op orc.
I don't know what that means.
Jesse, tell him what.
It says I love you. It means I love you.
Tell him what eep op orc means.
It means I love you.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough.
So there is a 2019 compilation album Soulfly dropped on Spotify of 101 songs called the Complete Roadrunner Albums, 7 hours long.
Okay. More
Is
importantly,
that all their stuff from Roadrunner?
More importantly, Eep Up Orc Ah means I love you is a song performed by Jet Screamer on the Jetsons episode A Date with Jet Screamer. And it was
Fantastic.
It was covered by the Violent Femmes on the Saturday Morning Cartoons album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Do we want to hear that instead of like the Soulfly album? Tell me.
If
you do.
if you divert this podcast into one of your ADD fits, I swear to goodness.
I mean, to be fair, we could just listen to the Italian version of Batman again.
Oh, I remember that.
And I can teach everybody about fucking 1980s and 90s anime. That always went well. Especially now that Mark has to watch anime as a father.
I think what Jesse was trying to tell me before this podcast started was, listen, fuckers, I have to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Shut the fuck up and play some music. Isn't that right, Jesse?
That is exactly right. We are on the same page.
Well, I'm not on that page. That's the page
I was
you're
about to say
on.
it's interesting. See, we're on the same page, but it's like Mark isn't reading.
Mark.
We're on the page. He's got the book open.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he really has no idea where we're at.
He is fucking drawing all over that page.
No. I am currently in class. The book is open. I'm wearing a denim jacket and sunglasses and pass the fuck out.
Facts.
You could be like some of those kids I had in school. I remember one of them was like, fuck this, I'm on drugs. I was like, I guess that's a good way to start 7 a.m.
My wife and I had a conversation tonight, and she said, can we negotiate how much of a dick you are? And I was like, okay, well, what do you... Let's put a number out there, and I'll tell you if I'm able to... Because right now, I'm at 50-50. 50, I'm decent, and 50, I'm a complete asshole dick jerk. And she's like, okay, I'm going to need you to get to, like, 70-30. And I'm like, impossible.
You're like, you are such a dick, they call you love sausage.
That's right. And I was like, okay. She was like, okay, second offer, 60-40. And I said, I asked you to throw a number out there for me to maybe ascend to, but 60-40 is not a number I'm comfortable with right now. Literally said that to my wife. I said, like, right now, I am 50% dick, 50% nice, and that is the best you're going to get out of me. She tried to negotiate for higher, and I was like, you have no bargaining power here.
You have no power here.
That's right. I was like, you have zero bargaining power. It's nice that you think you do, and that you threw a number out there that maybe I can work towards. But no. What do you think about that,
today.
Jesse?
Don't have any motivation to get anywhere near what you're requesting.
No.
Not even a 51-49. We're not even fucking around. Just keep it 50-50. You better be glad what you get.
Yeah, no. She was like 70-30, and I'm like, the other way? You want me to be like 70% dick? Because I can accomplish that. Very easily. That is an attainable goal right now. Right the fuck now.
Matter of fact, I'm heading that way.
I asked her tonight, I was just like, let me ask you a question. Worst case scenario, we go mutually assured destruction on each other. Like, who do you think wins that one? Like at the end of the day, who comes out clean if we both just go nuclear on each other?
That is an absolute horrifying thought right there.
And she legit took a minute. She's like, I'm not going to lie. Over the last little bit, I have definitely thought about pressing that button. And I realized you're going to win. And I'm like, I know.
Man.
And then she asked me about the 70-30, and I was like, nope, you just gave away all your power.
Nice.
In case she listens to this. No, but seriously, I'm trying to be better.
He is. I believe it in my heart.
In your heart? Your
my
pig's
heart of hearts.
Your pig's heart that the huntsman carries in a box?
You're making a reference, but yeah, sure.
Snow White.
Yeah, Snow White, right. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
No, you aren't.
I can hear your eyes rolling, motherfucker.
Why are you dragging this podcast out?
Oh my goodness.
50-50, even with my friends.
Fucking 50-50, my ass.
Oh, shit. Jesse Starcher.
Oh, he's challenging. Oh, my goodness.
All right, Jesse. Since
No.
you feel the need to drag this podcast out a little bit longer.
Nope.
No, I said 50-50 even with my friends, and you're like, not even. So what's the number? How much, on average, do you think I'm a dick to my friends?
Oh, on average, okay. Are we being legit? I have never. Okay, we'll go 70-30.
70 that I'm a dick?
70% nice guy.
Oh, okay.
30% dick. How's that?
Okay, to my friends.
Yes. How's that?
What do you think it is to my wife, though?
To your.
90-10.
I don't even know. I have no idea. I do not know. I would not know.
Listening back to the Metal Hammer of Doom extras, you know how many times you have called for her to assault me?
It does not surprise me.
Why do you take my wife's side on everything?
Well, my goodness, Mark.
This became a very contentious podcast.
Do I need to answer this? Should I answer this?
I mean, as your lawyer, I recommend not.
Hey, Jesse, what if we just forget this ever happened and I played some music?
Oh, some Soulfly?
Maybe.
Some Soulfly?
It's definitely a little Soulfly.
I'd love it. I would absolutely love it.
Here we go with the scenario. First few tracks of the night, we got Superstition, Scouring the Vile, and Filth Upon Filth. Jesse Starcher, lead us off here. What do you think of those first 3 tracks? Superstition, Scouring the Vial, and Filth Upon Filth, which we did on the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra last week.
Yeah. Didn't have a whole lot to say about it, but we did it, that's for sure.
We sure didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, there was some strange stuff going on. Yeah, so these first 3 were opening up a great way on this album. I really enjoyed Ritual when it was released. Number one, it was one of the first times I actually sat down and listened to a Soulfly album, and I thought they were fantastic. So I was hoping that we would kind of pick things up where we left off, and I don't think I was disappointed in any way. Superstition is a great way to open this thing up. It's everything I was wanting and expecting from this band. Scouring the Vial. So I did a little bit of research on this one. You jump into the lyrics. Apparently, this is it's a fuck cancer anthem. Which is,
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Apparently, you guys know better than I do, but there are some guest vocals in Scouring the Vial. Coop, did you recognize anybody when it came to guest vocals in there?
Oh, yeah, it's John Tardy of Obituary.
That's right. Yeah, so that was... We got another guest appearance here later on in this album, but I think that's the one that stuck out for me. And, Filth Upon Filth, it's heavy. We got some shredding going on in that one. I'm enjoying what I'm hearing in these first 3. Coop, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I was definitely excited to see John Tardy. I always love his work. Crazy thing is, live, he sounds exactly like he does on the album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is great because, I mean, he has just a very sort of unique delivery. I fucking love it every time.
Yeah.
In terms of Scouring the Vial, I could have swore I kept hearing MILFs.
You kept hearing
Like I
MILFs?
I kept mishearing the lyrics, and I could have swore they were talking about MILFs.
MILF upon MILF?
Yes.
I would love that song.
Oh, wow. That's a Pornhub channel.
It is. It is. Which is, I mean, hey, you know what? As long as somebody's enjoying it, that's all that matters.
That's right.
Or the April Fool's joke, Corn Hub, which was still probably one of the best ones ever. I think my favorite one that I really wish would become a thing was the year, I think it was like 2011. YouTube had a thing where you hit a button and it turns anything into a Benny Hill skit with the wackety sax.
Yakety sax.
Oh, is it the yakety?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. It is the yakety sax. Yeah, it was fantastic. And playing Immortals Call of the Winter Moon with the video, playing the yakety sax, it made my life.
It's really fun.
But yeah, actually. I mean, these songs here, I'm really enjoying it. The last Soulfly album I remember listening to was, I think, the one in 2012, and I didn't love it. I thought there were a few good tracks, but otherwise I thought it was kind of forgettable.
They tend to get very, like, not noodly so much, but they definitely like to, like, play with, like, ambient noise and sound. Oh, yeah. And it's like, I'm sure this is meaningful to you. You know what my favorite Soulfly thing was? One of the tracks that was just nothing but silence.
Yeah, I was like, I hope the audience can hear this.
Yeah. So Soulfly likes to... They have a perspective. I don't know how much of it is enjoyed by the general audience, but they are definitely committed to whatever their vision is, and God bless them for it. I don't think it always translates. As far as the first 3 songs go, they're all bangers, they're all rockers. I don't have any major complaints here. I can tell you right now, this is one of those albums where when I was listening to it, I was enjoying it while I was listening to it, but I don't think it... This is going to be one of those reviews where I don't have a lot to say about the songs individually. It's a fine rockin' album, but I don't think it's particularly distinctive. So
that's kind of where I am.
Your opinion's shared. Trust me.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel the same way.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next 3 tracks. Let's not beat this to death like I did, Jesse insisting that we start the podcast early.
Well, or really just that we start the podcast in general.
Make make sure to mention it at least 3 more times before we're out of here, though, tonight. Okay?
No,
Hop
it's
in the
fine.
car, kids. We're going on a guilt trip.
I'm not passive aggressive at all.
Nope. There's no evidence whatsoever.
I'm at least 50-50 passive aggressive.
We've definitely moved past passive.
We're in provocatively provocatively aggressive.
Yeah, no, we're. It's one of those. The pretense is all gone.
You know, Alexis often likes to say, anyone that meets Mark in person from our little group here must want to punch him in the nuts. Can I tell you that Jesse was a perfect gentleman when we went to when I saw him in Cleveland? Jesse not one time tried to commit violence on me. And now I'm wondering, after listening to this podcast, or doing this podcast as we're doing it, if Jesse thought like maybe he missed his chance.
See, the thing you didn't realize is that I paid the dude behind you to drop that phone on your head.
He was aiming for your nuts the whole time.
Like, see the guy in front of you? Here's a $5 if you just fucking whack him one time.
Just one. And then I got away scot-free, man. You had no idea this whole time. You thought it was that dick behind you. And I'm the nice guy out of this.
I can't tell you how many times in the past year I've had to worry about a dick behind me.
It's not right. Not right.
Ain't right, man. All right.
Ain't right.
Speaking of not right, here's the next 3 tracks.
All right.
We've got No Bananas, Rotten Pain, The Damage Done, and Totem. But Jesse, what does the Angry Metal Guy think about all this?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Well, let's work our way up to that here. I'll give you some reviews from around the web. DistortedSoundMag.com gave this album an 8 out of 10. Kerrang! 3 out of 5. Metalinjection.net gave this an 8, I assume, out of 10. Sputnik Music, 4 out of 5. And then rockandloadmag.com gave this a 9. Quite a glowing review. And we're going to talk about some weird ones here. So, music, I've almost called this Music. Music Reviews, because it's MUSIK. Music Reviews-DE gave it a 12 out of 15. I'm sure there's an explanation for that. But then when you head over to Metal Hammer DE, they gave that a 5 out of 7. I'm sure there's an explanation for that too. But let's talk about the angry metal guy, Dr. A.N. Greer. Angrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he understood that it was lore diversity?
I guarantee it. Although they did not review the album, they were smart enough to stay far, far away.
Or that the Five Finger Death Punch was fate.
Right. So okay, I'll tell you what they said here. This was probably the paragraph that stuck out the most to me. Though Totem isn't at the top of the poll.
Hello, Natalia.
It's a solid release with the aggression it's a solid.
Hello.
Yes, it is. with the aggression we old guys crave when you say the name Cavalera. But I have to admit, I enjoyed my time revisiting Soulfly's discog for this release. It's a concise collection of bruisers that brand it as the proper follow-up to Ritual. That said, it falls a tad short of its predecessor. I think he's hitting the nail on the head here. I definitely agree with this album falling short compared to Ritual, because there was a lot out of that I really enjoyed. There's not anything on here that really sticks out like stuff on Ritual did for me. Now, it might be one of those things where it's like, okay, are you desensitized to some Soulfly? Well, this is their 12th album. I've only listened to probably 2 or 3. I mean, my goodness, did you see how many views Jump the Fuck Up has? I should say listens, not views. Jump the Fuck Up has, I think, 25 million listens on Spotify. 29 million listens. And the only close thing that follows that is Back to the Primitive with 7 million.
Back to the Primitive.
Right. So, these guys have been around for such a long time. They're putting out albums. This is their 12th. I gotta say, I agree with what Dr. Angrier is saying here. It's nice to kind of go back and listen.
Did we lose Jesse?
What's that?
You cut out there. You were like, yeah. It's really nice to go back and
I was saying the safe word.
Better safe than sorry.
It's nice to go back and listen to the previous albums, but this doesn't stand out from those. So it just kind of blends in with them, and really there isn't a whole lot here. It's just more Soulfly.
All right. Robert, what do you think of those last 3 tracks?
I like what they were actually bringing. I felt like on that 6th track, the opening drum beat for some reason gave me a lot of allusions to late 90s like drum and beat music. I don't know. It's just the way that started out. I was just like, oh shit, we're going on a ride.
Yeah, I mean that seems like something they would.
Soulfly is always very reliant on the tribal element, and I have to say, like this one, like that second song, I think of that set got very like Cannibal Corpse-y, like very.
Yeah, definitely kind of leaned heavily on the sort of the death metal blast beat drumming.
That was the Damage Done. I thought that was pretty neat that his drummer is his son. That's pretty cool.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I thought it started with a Z. I had it here. Zion. Yes. Zion Cavalera.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, that's neat. I guess it just doesn't work without having one member of your family drumming.
I guess not. I guess not.
Like everything's cool when you're like when you have the family playing, unless it's that time Wolfgang Van Halen joined Van Halen. Everybody's like, "Shut up, Eddie." Nobody cares. Give me Michael Anthony or give me Death.
Okay, then.
Seems pretty extreme. But all right.
I mean, I don't know. I never really listened to much Extreme, but
Good one.
I just know that More Than Words will definitely be playing anytime I want to try.
Somebody get Pat Mullen on the phone. He will sing us a song.
Is he gonna fuck an octopus?
I don't know about that.
Fucking octopus.
Because that was this. So I just finished watching The Boys myself, and the scene where the Deep is trying to convince his wife to go into the threesome with the octopus. He's playing More Than Words is in the background the entire time.
Sorry, I apparently got disconnected. I heard nothing for the longest time.
I heard you, Robert. I heard you.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Jesse didn't need to. That's fine.
No, that's all right. I'll listen to the replay of this about 3 years from now.
It was just just a reference to the last season of The Boys, where the Deep is trying to.
Gotcha. With the Deep, yeah,
Yep.
beautiful. All right,
Yeah.
I get it.
It was such a good show. It's so funny. It's nothing like the comic. Well, not nothing like the comic, but the comic is a lot different.
We had a fun time talking Herogasm.
Oh God.
Yes, we did.
You know what's funny is
that Boys episode has produced a lot of content for me and also engendered a few fights between me and my wife.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
Well, like the Herogasm or like the podcast?
The podcast.
Oh, interesting.
We had a long discussion about masculinity in that one, right? Toxic masculinity.
This was a conversation that my wife and I actually had tonight about that, where basically, like, I have very pointed views that are backed up by like my male friends about what masculinity should be and what it is, and she tends to have a dim view of those things. But I think it's because this is my opinion, and it's gotten to the point where like we just won't talk about it with each other anymore because it's like that polarizing of a subject. But I talk about how there's a concerted tearing down of masculine masculine what's the word I'm looking for?
Ideals?
Yeah, behaviors, ideals, personality types, and I think it's Robert and I have talked about this before, and I think it's because there's a concerted effort to like diminish men, push them out of positions of leadership, push them out of positions of influence, push them out of the workforce, if at all possible. And you see it a lot in culture. You don't get as much of this in like real life because I think most women like traditional male behavior, male attitude, and traditional masculinity, with some changes here or there. But for the most part, I think it's pretty intact. But it's definitely something you see in the cultural conversation. And I think my wife has like bought into the idea of, men should be like, she's bought into the idea of like traditional masculinity is toxic and men should behave differently. But I think that's so that women can just do whatever they want and there's no one there to challenge them. Which you can see why that might engender a fight between us.
Yeah, that's two very, very strong opinions on that. Interesting. I don't know. That's a lot to chew on.
I was going to say, if you don't have to weigh in if you don't want to, but I would be curious, Jesse. Jesse, you were on that podcast. You didn't like really raise a stink about that when it came up.
No. I mean, I think it was that was a fun podcast. It was fun to talk to you guys about.
That's a nice deflection. I'm asking your opinion.
No, about I mean,
Jesus
You're just going to get me in trouble with your wife.
No, fuck her. Go ahead.
I don't want to.
Dude, I have no opinion. I will abstain from having an opinion on this one.
Pleading the fifth.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are you abstaining?
Why
And you're talking to
am I
somebody
abstaining?
you're talking to somebody who desperately wants to end this podcast so I can go to bed and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But now I can't let this go.
It can go. I'm perfectly fine with letting it go.
Why are you afraid?
Right
why are you
there.
afraid of my wife? What do you think? She's going to come to Ohio and beat you up?
I really don't need that to happen either. I don't need to be beaten up by somebody who traveled specifically to beat my ass that far.
That means they really want it.
They really wanted to at that point. No, I legitimately have. I'm good.
I just want to know one thing.
Move on.
Do you agree with me or do you agree with Melissa?
I absolutely agree with both of you.
You're a weenie. You're such a weenie.
That is not a both.
Would you like salt or pepper? Yes.
Yes.
How did you feel? Did you like A or B? They were both good, but you can't pick both. No. I'm picking both. I think you understand just what we're working with here. I think it's a very interesting thought.
Speak your mind, Robert. Speak your mind. Just know that if you agree with my wife, I'll hate you.
That's fine. I hate me too. No, it's one of those. I don't necessarily agree in every facet of, I guess, traditional male values, because I feel like a lot of it is more or less insecurity construed as strength. But I also do, in a way, see where you're coming from, Mark, with it is kind of, in ways, you are diminishing a lot of what a man can bring to the table in terms of traditional values by sort of minimizing that role.
Okay.
I think it's interesting. I don't think it's all of one or the other. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think there's some dark conspiracy to get rid of men in the workforce.
No, I don't think so either. But I will like I said, I think for the people that raise the kind of stink about this, like those people don't want the competition. And I think, and I honestly think, and she might hear this, but she'll be hearing it for a second time because I said this to her when we were fighting about it. That I do think that there's a concerted effort to be like, men shouldn't do this, men shouldn't do that, so there's no man there to stand up against you when you're out there making making crazy decisions. And like there are people, there are women that are out there doing a thing, like just trying to live their best life, and they might not be making great decisions, and there's a man there to be like, have you thought about this? And they don't want him there,
Yeah. I can see that. I don't know if I'd necessarily agree that there's a larger. I'm not seeing it as some larger sort of conspiracy to try to move men out.
No, I honestly think that's person to person.
Yeah, I just think that just kind of depends. Because as somebody I'm not, part of my whole dad's family is very masculine focused, very arrogant in a lot of ways, and I try not to be, frankly. Because I did think with the boys that third season, that was when Mark said, "Oh wow, that was a lot of politics in that one," I was like, "Huh," and then I was watching and I'm like, "Oh wow, they're on the nose," which I wasn't mad. I was just like, "Yeah, that's how it is." It is still ironic that A-Train got the other guy's heart, though.
Oh, it's good stuff.
That was funny.
We talked about that.
That was funny.
Jesse, I'm gonna give you one more at this.
Well, I tell you what. In place of my answer, if I send you a song, will you play it?
No. What are you, a girl?
How many
Do me a favor and go play
God.
this song immediately.
Why?
Play this song and then right into the last three songs.
I thought you wanted to end this podcast.
I do.
Yeah, I think he's trying to give you the old heave ho.
Okay, now that I see what this is, all right, fine. I will do this. I will do this
all
for
right.
you.
I
Jesse.
love it.
Love
Thank
of my
you,
life.
Mark.
My one true love. Right, hang on. Now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it? Now that we found... I've listened to a lot of 90s rap lately.
Oh, that's good stuff.
I was playing it for... I turned my son on to Master P's, make him say,
Oh, that is the absolute worst. Worst.
That is fucking awful.
What are you talking about?
The entire time I was listening to music, all I could think of is, God, Mark would hate this. I've been listening to a lot of Tool.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of... I would rather listen to Master P than Tool. Hey, here's the next 4 songs, including the one that Jesse just picked. Here we go.
Speaking of tools.
Now that we're men, we can do anything. Now that we're men, we are invincible. Now that we're men, we'll go to Chelsea, get the crown, save the town, and Mr. Krabs. Now that we're men, we have facial hair. Now that we're men,
I changed my underwear.
now that we're men, we got a manly flair. We got the stuff, we're tough enough to save the day. We never had a chance when we were kids. No, no, no. But take a look at what the mermaid did. Ha, ha, ha. Patrick, time for some slapping. Oh, yeah.
Faces shine with 1,000 eyes. Indoctrination, repulsive lies. Refuse to serve rejected all. Run away from selfish mind. You can face your own conviction by sacrifice.
Oh, that song is 9 minutes and 30 seconds long.
Man.
That was a very funny SpongeBob song, by the way.
Oh,
After a while, this with the slapping, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired.
I have never heard that song before, but that made my day.
Yeah, now that we're men, I changed my underpants. Hey, to close out our discussion of our ongoing discussion of modern masculinity, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to throw it to you, Jesse, because then I got to run to take care of something really quick. For you and Robert to quick close out the show, and then I'll come back. But when I was doing therapy, and I think this tells you a lot about me as a mental health professional, I had a young woman who was rambling, as women tend to do, and and she said, and she punctuated the sentence with the phrase, I'm just the kind of person that thinks with their heart, that thinks with their heart. And I'm like, well, maybe that's why you're fucking up all the time. You're thinking with the wrong organ.
Nice.
I mean, depending on which organ we're thinking with.
Your brain, motherfucker.
Well, so there's another organ that some people also think with.
Okay, but that would also be the wrong organ.
Well, I mean, you know what? The pipe organ happens.
I'm gonna go poop
walk
now.
into a church.
Anyway, my point being that where women tend to think with their heart, you have men who tend to think with their brain, and maybe therein lies the conflict. You know what I mean, Jesse?
I hear you. I do hear you, sir.
Okay.
Sometimes that can cause a bit of an issue.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
That's right.
All right,
that's why that last Sepultura album was the mediator between the head and hands is the heart.
Jesse, go ahead and tell us how you feel, and then throw it to Coop.
Okay. While Mark goes to throw it to poop.
He has to throw it out. Does he get a fucking scooper?
When we say evacuate your bowels, it definitely means toss something out.
It's like a Chinese fire drill in his bowels.
Coop, I mean, I enjoyed myself here. There isn't, again, it's a Soulfly album. There are a few songs I kind of dig, but I definitely don't hate anything off of here. There's not, even the 9-minute song didn't bore me to tears or anything like that. It was actually somewhat interesting. One of the things that I can tell you is that I did notice that, the pace for some of these songs, like, it will change mid-song pretty easy. Like, you could be sitting there and just headbanging, and then all of a sudden it kind of slows down a good bit, and then all of a sudden we're back to, like, it's heavy again. So there's a lot of pace changes. It's all still pretty heavy, but you get your varying degrees, I would say, of how fast something can go, the drum beats, and I mean, we aren't short of solos on this album, that's for sure. There's a good bit of those. But regardless, as far as, am I going to be revisiting this album anytime soon? There's a couple I'll probably grab for a playlist potentially, but I don't think I'm going to be coming back and being like, oh man, you guys got to hear what they did on Totem. It's just not happening for me personally. What about you, Coop? What do you think, man?
This is one of those albums, like, the more I listened to it, I really did enjoy the I guess the musicianship that comes from it. Like, I really like the guitar work. Mm-hmm. I felt like in terms of, like, the solos, they fucking shredded. The drum work was different enough to where I always feel like it brings just a little something extra the more you listen to it. As an overall listen, though, this is one of those where, like, there might be a few standout tracks I'll come back to. And I certainly wouldn't mind this as, the occasional listen, as a full album, or maybe just a good background noise. I'd give it probably a solid 3.5, maybe 4 out of 5. It's 7 or 8 out of 10. There's nothing. This album is really good. It's just in terms of reviewing it piece by piece, there's not as much you can really offer in terms of song by song criticism as much as just kind of looking at it as a whole.
Right. right? There's not anything on here where I'm just completely, disgusted with. That would have made it a little bit more interesting of a review. Just be like, man, gosh, they really dropped the ball on this one. There's none of that, which speaks to how, I guess, consistent Soulfly is in regards to putting out albums. I'm going to say that this one, if somebody asks me, well, what'd you think of it? It's decent. Give it a listen. You may like some stuff off there for sure. So, I guess Mark kind of gave us his thoughts there earlier in the review. So I think we'll go ahead and we'll just move into plugs, and when Mark gets back, if he has anything additional to say, we'll go from there. For myself, ladies and gentlemen, I have a show on the W2M network. It is called the Source Material Comics Podcast, and we do all sorts of comic-related activities and discussions over there. And one of the things that I discussed here recently was the Soviet super soldiers. That's right. Ooh. The unspoken issues. We talked about this one shot that came out from Marvel in 1992, and it featured a bunch of superheroes from the Soviet Union, USSR, former USSR, if you will. Let me just tell you, there was some crazy stuff in there, including the Unicorn. The Unicorn was one of the craziest villains that I had seen, especially in a 90s comic at that point. You'll have to tune in to find out why. Source Material itself, though, we did have a episode release. It was just a solo thing where I went in and talked about Archie Comics covering Bayou Billy. There was a 5-issue series that came out from Archie Comics. I only covered the first issue, but if you want to hear me do a dramatic reading of the final scene of the Bayou Billy game, tune in. It's only 20 minutes. The whole episode's like 20 minutes long, so it's a lot of fun. Had a good time. Always like taking a look at those like video game properties that make their way over to the comic book realm, and just to see how they're treated. And it was a fun show.
Nobody cares about any of this. Bring back the gag reel.
Bring back the gag reel. So say it. It's kind of hard to put a gag reel in there when you're doing an episode by yourself. That's not easy.
Should I come back?
Says you.
Oh, the gag reel. Mark Radulich,
Should I come back?
I'm not requiring you to come back for an additional podcast per week. Trust me. I will tell you that Dean Compton has become a madman, has scheduled me to be on a podcast at least once a week up until October.
Yeah, I've seen your recording schedule. Like I cut back, and Jesse was like, "I'm taking over."
I was like, "Yeah, Dean really wants to record some stuff." So I was like, "All right, bro, let's go
Can
ahead."
we get a gag reel of Dean?
Dean Compton. Oh yes, we could have a gag reel with Dean Compton.
Dean straight out of
Straight out of Compton.
If you send me set up straight man lines, I will send you back recordings of me doing punchlines, and you can put them all in the gag reel.
It'll be the most organic.
Yeah,
that shit's so organic. It's sold out at Publix.
The gag reel. Speaking of yakety sax, the gag reel had plenty of yakety sax playing behind it for at least, 10 of those gag reels back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And
it all started with me singing Planet Earth during the Planet Hulk review.
That's great. But hey, yeah, Mark, I'll go ahead and plug this. I know you're going to too. You and I are going to be recording here this coming Monday, Lieutenants of Metal, which that's definitely a thing. I can't wait to get your thoughts on that. Kaiju Score, definitely a good read. Mm-hmm. Lieutenants of Metal was weird, so we'll have our discussion about that. But
yes, sir.
You've read both of those, right?
I've read half of both of them.
Okay, all right. So you know what I'm talking about.
I got to reread that. Yeah, no, I know they are. Kaiju Score is okay. I think I think I was like in the middle of like something going on with Melissa at the time, so like I wasn't paying that close attention to it, and I was getting like a million text messages that night. So like my plan is to read it Monday in a quiet house with no one bothering me, and maybe I'll be able to focus a little bit more on the story. And Lieutenants of Metal, I got to reread it because it's been so long since I have. It's a weirdo story.
Oh, yeah. Coop, imagine a Justice League team, but in the vein of Steven Universe animation, and they do nothing but drop metal band references, and the villains of the piece are the Beeb and the Boy Band Nation.
God, this was definitely done in like 2013, wasn't it?
Actually, I didn't know. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I didn't have a chance to put that in the notes yet, but I could very well see it being.
You said Lieutenants of Metal?
Yeah. Lieutenants of Metal are the Vandenborg Riot is one of the characters' name. I can't believe that's a character name. The Vandenborg Riot. And then we have the Krieg, Steppenwolf, which is a man who turns into a werewolf. And what was the other guy? Spike, who's just
2019.
2019 anthropomorphic panda Spike. So anyway, it's a fun story. It's a weird one. I didn't expect what we got in that story. So it'll be fun to talk to you about it, Mark. That's all the plugs I have.
Okay, are we done? Is that it?
Coop's got something to plug, I'm sure.
I got a podcast that didn't fucking exist. I had a friend once that did a podcast about sobriety. That happened. It never got released, the episode I was on, so whatever. I get to see Mark in a week and a half, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still know what we're doing, besides watching boxing.
That's all that. Well, we'll figure out the rest when you get there, buddy. Bring lube or Vicks Vapor
We'll just
Rub.
come up with a time, and we'll figure it out from there.
Bring the Vicks.
Oh,
the Vicks.
no. What if I bring the mint body wash instead?
Sorry, there's nothing funnier than Jesse going, let me tell you about the time I put sanitizer on my taint. Every time I've listened to that story, that line always gets it. Because Jesse says it with such authority.
He's just like, aha, I have you now.
It's just like, let me,
As a matter of fact,
it's just like, I got a story for you, bitch. Let me tell you about the time I put sanitizer on my taint. Now sit there and shut up. All right. When Jesse puts sanitizer on his taint, it's time to exit the podcast. So, for Dick Tittins and Robert Cooper, I'm Sassy Molassy. Be well, be safe, and behave.